I hate Pisces.
We're the best.
Lord, let me look at someone else that's an issue, but he can go have people. He's very honest, but sometimes I told him this too. I said, "Can you lie to me?" I swear, I remember telling him, "Can you lie to me?" I like the innocent guy because
you want to corrupt. Bible is very against evil, right? Bible, it says women should be seen and not heard. That's really in the Bible. That's like a literal passage. I swear to God.
Even a lot of models are usually in model apartments, and you can tell what's a model apartment, what's not. Like there's a big difference in that.
A lot of agencies do, the sketchy ones, is they tell you, they say they only take, let's say 10% or something, but then they're like, hey, we have this gig, it's for like $1,000, and in reality the gig's like $2,000. So they do only take 10%, but then they keep the extra 1,000 and pocket it that you don't even know was part of the gig in the first place. That's a sketchy thing. I
started to learn people. I started really seeing it for what it is, because when you're really young and you're hanging out with like A-list people, you're seeing them for what they are. I would go around different groups. I would have different personalities every other night just because I wanted to fit in and figure out. But I think that the Abrahamic religions have a lot of dark to them, because first of all three of you are almost the same. What are you beefing for? What are you fighting for? You're all the same.
Everything you say is like red flag. The flag is red. It's like glaring red flag. Welcome to Unattainable. Glad to have you with us. I'm your host, Zach Evans. And first of all, thank you to all of our listeners. We've been getting a ton of growth and engagement over the last few weeks, and we got to thank all you guys out there for that. Today, we got a special guest on the show. This is Rahaf. Rahaf, why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself to the audience, name, what you do, and your star sign.
So I'm Rahaf. I don't exactly know what I do. Still figuring it out.
We'll get into that more.
And I'm a Capricorn.
Ooh, Capricorn.
You?
You guys are bad for my mental health.
What are you, Leo?
That's what I identify as. I'm the one that's smart, funny, attractive, good-looking, tall, smart, funny, and attractive. Yeah.
Pisces or Gemini?
Pisces.
Okay.
Good call. Good call.
Because every Pisces I know, first of all, I hate Pisces.
We're the best.
No.
We're the best.
No.
What's your experience?
So I used to talk to this guy, and he was a Pisces, and I was obsessed with him when I first met him. Like, I was obsessed with him. Okay, this is gonna sound bad. I was in a relationship when I met him. It's a couple years ago. And we ended up just being friends, but I still had a crush on him, but I was in a relationship, so there wasn't anything else I knew about it. So we ended up becoming really close. We became best friends, and I started getting to know him more, and I was like, oh my God, like, this is a perfect man for me. Like, he's literally my dream man. Mind you, in the relationship I was in, he was really abusive. So this would be like my savior best friend that I would go to every time something would happen.
The white knight that was saving you. I see.
Then I broke up with him, and I went to this best friend, and I told him, I'm like, I like you, so I'm coming over. He's like, okay. It wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. He ended up being literally like, I remember on New Year's of 2023, he told me we're going to go party. We're going to go out. You know, I'm thinking that him and I have a thing going on. No, he ended up going to a sex party. And he told me about it. Literally told me, oh, I'm going to so-and-so. I'm like, wait, I thought you and I were.
You thought it was like a date almost.
Yeah. I'm like, I thought you and I had like a thing going. What do you mean you're going to a sex party? He ended up telling me he's not that serious and to get over it. Yeah. And I still went back to him thinking like, okay, you know what? I shouldn't expect much of him because we're not dating.
It's fair. It's fair.
No, he ended up being so cocky. Like, he started acting like he can do whatever he wants. And then he's just telling me all these stories all the time. Like, remember I went over to his place this one time and I asked him what we're going to do tomorrow. And he's like, oh, well, you have to leave soon because at 11 a.m. I have an orgy. I said, oh, that's great. I'm done. And
is he like a swinger? Like in the swinger scene?
I didn't think he was, but I guess so.
I see.
And yeah, every girl I knew, I would tell them about him, and they're like, oh, we all know him. All of us have slept with him. Every girl knows him. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And I continued to go back for like a year straight. It did me no justice for my mental health. This man was very cocky. He didn't care how I felt, no matter what I told him. Did not care. Like, he would literally tell me it's not that serious. Lord, let me look at someone else that's an issue, but he can go have orgies with people.
So I hear you.
I'm like,
but I also think you got yourself into something. You knew what you were getting yourself into, at least after that first.
But I thought I could change him.
That's what they, okay. So I used to be very toxic back in my villain era, right? But I was like a professional fuckboy, not like these little amateur Gen Z ones running around with a little TikTok hair. And I would always be honest with girls. I would say, hey, I'm not really emotionally looking for a relationship. And same thing. I swear they're all, no, that's fine. I totally get it. And then they would just keep like trying to hang out with me, and then they would get mad at me later.
We think we could change you. That's all it is. Like, I remember laying in bed with him, and then girls would be blowing up his phone. And I'm like, this can't be real. And then anytime I would try to move on, he would call me and tell me, which he wasn't wrong, but he kept saying, he's like, you're going to come back. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And then I would come back 2 days later. It was an issue. But no, yeah, I literally hate Pisces because of him. He showed me the worst experience in a Pisces. Like,
but do you not think he was being honest with you? And then you just
that's the thing. He was very honest. Because he never lied. He never lied. Like, this is the thing about him. He's so
Pisces.
honest.
We're honest. We're very honest.
He's very honest. But sometimes I told him this too. I said, can you lie to me? I swear, I remember telling him, can you lie to me? I'm like, please. So toxic. I'm like, please lie to me. Okay, you're going to go sleep with other women. Cool. Lie about it. That's all I'm asking. Lie. Because I don't want to know that. And I'm not going to find out. So just lie. Like, it's fine. It is what it is. How am I going to find out you had an orgy at 11 in the morning? I'm not going to find that out because you told me. That's how I know. So just lie. He's like, I'm not a liar.
That's how I am too. I'm from Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, it's like very different. LA, it's kind of like you just kind of talk shit and everybody just like makes shit up. In Wisconsin, you say something, that's like your word is your reputation. So like you can't like, that's just how it is.
I just think in some situations you should lie. Like, I didn't need to know the things I knew.
Interesting. Yeah, I ended up in one of those Facebook groups. You know those Facebook groups?
No, I never used Facebook.
I didn't know people still use Facebook until one morning I woke up with like 17 texts from like some of my friends who are girls, and they're like sending me these screenshots, and I'm in this Facebook group that's like, do not date him, Los Angeles, and it's just a picture of me. It says Zach, and then it's like 5 red flag emojis in a row.
Honestly, I think I know what you're talking about because I've seen that going around on TikTok where I guess they're making like, someone just made a New York one and it went viral on TikTok.
Yeah, there's like 3 different LA ones. They all have a bunch of followers. I want to join the LA ones. No, don't join them. They're toxic. Yeah, no, they're horrible. I want to join. No, that's great. I want to join. I need to see who's in there. I can add a few people too. Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. I just feel like if I was a girl, at least if date a fuckboy who's an adult professional fuckboy who like if you're gonna get fucked over on like your European vacation. Don't get fucked over at Half Price Tuesday at Applebee by some dude with a coupon book.
No, I just remember like this is the thing. So he would go and pay for girls all the time. And I think I've caught him maybe like 30 times.
Wait, pay for girls as in prostitutes or as in for dinner?
No, like prostitutes, but also escorts too. So he would pay girls to hang out with him. He'd pay girls to sleep with him. Like he would just constantly pay girls.
I see.
And I've caught him about 1,000 times, and he would do that, right? He would spend so much money on girls, but let it be dinner or something, then he wants to be stingy. And I'm like,
then he's like,
I'm like, why? Literally, I'm like, why is it that with girls you're paying for, you're going to give them thousands of dollars? Oh, here's $2,500 for the night. We're going to dinner. It's like $150. You want to tell me to send you 40? Please.
He could Venmo request you?
Not even Venmo request. He's like, hey, like, can you like give me some cash? And I'm
hilarious.
Like, I literally know a girl you just paid 2 days ago about $3,000 for no reason. Like, she told me she was going to sleep with you for free, first of all. So it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Okay, so obviously you know all this stuff. What was it that made you want to stick in the relationship longer? Or the whatever it was.
Situationship.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Was he just like super hot? Was
no.
he like the connection?
No, none of that. I had just got out of a 3-year relationship that was super abusive, like physically, emotionally, it was bad. So to me, I just wanted to get over him. Mm-hmm. So I didn't care who it was. I just needed to get over him. Mm-hmm. So even though this guy was treating me like shit, I didn't really care because it got my mind off of the last person I was with, which sounds really bad. Like, that honestly sounds really bad to say it out loud.
I don't think necessarily, depending, as long as you're honest with people on what the situation is, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
It was that, and it was also the fact that because we wouldn't always sleep with each other. There was times where we'd go like weeks, months without even like getting like that. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed the friendship. And so I would always say, okay, you know what? We can just stop doing what we're doing and just be friends, hang out. Mm-hmm. Like, he would bring girls around me, and at that time, I wouldn't care because we were just friends. Mm-hmm. So to me, it was more of like, okay, it didn't work out. Doesn't mean we can't be friends. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean we can't get along. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really care in the sense of like, because this is my thing. If I really love someone, I'll be obsessed. Mm-hmm. And I know how to tell the difference between me being obsessed with someone and like actually liking them compared to me being bored. And I feel like with him, it was more of, I wanted that excitement. I didn't really care about him. Like, if someone told me he got hit by a car, I don't think I would care. Interesting. I think it was just more the sense of, I'm bored. I just got out of a long-term relationship. I just want to have fun. So these stories of him telling me like, oh, I just did that. I just did this. And I would get crazy and angry. I didn't actually care. I just pretended to because I was bored. And it's like watching a TV show and you see like the plot twists, and it was just fun for me. Mm-hmm.
How did you meet him?
At work.
Which was?
At work.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
What's your type?
I don't really have a type. I just like, okay, I like the emo, like really reserved, like the guys that act like they've never seen a girl in their life. Like the nerdy guys who,
I don't know if I believe you.
No, I love them. Like the nerdy guys who it's like they've never seen a woman in their life. Because
every time a girl tells me they like nerds, I'm like, oh, let me see your ex. And she shows me a picture and I'm like, that's just a male model with glasses. Like, like this is not a real nerd. The real nerds are like the guys who like can't leave their basement for more than 3 hours because if they do, their mom might come downstairs and clean up the game. No, like those are the real nerds. No, that's like you guys like the fake nerds, like the frauds.
Okay. Like I like guys that are socially awkward. I think that's the right word for it. Like the socially awkward male who needs someone to do the talking for him because he gets so anxious. Mm. I've noticed that that's most of the men I've dealt with, and I like them because they're cute. Like they're like cute little like puppies. They're cute.
But do you like them in a you're adorable kind of way, or in a like sexual like I've attracted to you?
Both,
you know what I mean?
Because I like, this is gonna sound bad. Mm-hmm. I like the innocent guy because
you want to corrupt them.
That sounds so bad, but yeah.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
That sounds really bad, but yeah.
I mean, you do have a very fiery personality. You seem like somebody who kind of wants to be in charge.
I don't want to say like in charge, but more like don't piss me off. Please don't piss me off. Like that's more like just don't irritate me, because I will take it from 0 to 100, and I don't care about revenge. I do it for fun. See, it's not people that you...
That's not any better. I think that's worse.
No, that's definitely worse, because if someone wanted to take revenge out because I hurt their feelings, that's one thing. If someone wants to do it for fun, that's who I'm scared of. Because I know that they don't actually have a motive to when to stop. They don't want to get even. They want to just keep going because it's fun for them. That's the people that scare me. And I do that to people. So.
Do you find yourself in relationships wanting to take charge, or do you want the guy to take control? Like, do you feel like you want a guy who like takes control, or do you like being in charge?
This is the thing. I like to be in charge, like to a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it when, like, I want to be able to tell you who to look at and who not to look at, okay?
In terms of girls?
Yeah, like, I want to tell you, like, okay, she's cute, don't look at her. And then I want to be able to tell you, okay, that girl's ugly, you can go be her friend. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
I like that control. I like the control of the sense of, like, I want to respond to the girls in your comments and tell them to go fuck themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But I also like the man being in control in the... How do I explain it?
Like if he's, hey, be ready at 8. I'm picking you up. I'm taking you here. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you like a man who takes charge, but in terms of other women, you want to be the light of his life where he only looks at you.
Exactly.
Unless
like
they're
I want it
if they're ugly, who cares, you know?
Exactly. It's like I want it to be like he's never seen a girl in his life. Like I want to be worshipped. I want to be worshipped.
You want him to be obsessed with you because you want to be obsessed with him, but you want someone who reciprocates that same
Exactly, because I don't want to be obsessed with you and then you're making me look stupid.
Yeah.
Like I said, the only time I deal with men like that is if I don't care about you. Like the guy I was telling you about, the one that I was dealing with for like a year, who was telling me about all the orgy parties. I was crying to him about him doing stuff. Meanwhile, I think I had a few other men that I was talking to at the same time. Mm-hmm. I just act like it for fun. But once I care about you, yeah, that's done.
I see.
That's done. We're not doing that.
So you're not monogamous until you are.
Yeah, if I truly care about you.
Mm-hmm.
Which is hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like I look for problems in a relationship. Where every person I date, I look for their flaws.
Everything you say is like red flag. The flag is fucking red. It's like glaring red flag. It's like, what's the country that they just have? It's literally just a red giant rectangle.
No, like I literally look for the problems in a man. And I'm like, is it worth it for me to deal with this? Because I look at myself like, this is the thing. Mm-hmm. There's times where I get super like depressed, but then I realize once I look in the mirror, I'm like, why are you sad? Like, it's not that serious. Mm-hmm. Like, look at you, just be happy. And that's how I look at relationships. Mm-hmm. Like, if there's a problem with you, I'm just like, why am I dealing with this? Because I tell every man this, every single man, my future husband would never do this. And it's a way of
do what?
Like,
what are some examples?
Like, if a guy texts me, he says he's gonna call me when he gets home and he doesn't. Mm-hmm. And he calls me the next day. My future husband would never do this. Because it's a way of like me manifesting it. Like I know my future husband would never. And I can think about my future husband right now. He would never do that. And I say that every single time. Because I know that that's the accurate truth. And I also just see life as there's so many fish in the sea. Have fun. But don't take it too seriously. I think I've learned men too much. That's my problem. I've learned men to the point where I've become the man. I've literally become the man.
You are the fuckboy.
Yeah. Like, I've learned men to the point where I'm like... Because, okay, this is going to sound really bad. I have a lot of friends. A lot of them are whores. A lot of them are good girls. And I've noticed...
Do you mean whore literally, or do you mean whore like...
Oh, no, they're whores. Hoes? Like, they're hoes.
Yeah,
I see. They get around. They do all types of... And I've noticed they have more respect than the good girls. Mm. Like, they get respected. A man would never say anything to them. He would never say anything to them. People, maybe it's LA, maybe it's like Miami, those kind of places that think like that. Because I feel like if I said this in Indiana, they would look at me crazy. But
I'm from Wisconsin, same. So, I get it.
But I've noticed that women that are very out there get more respect from the guys. And I started to notice... Men are actually weak. They're very weak. And when they meet a girl exactly like them or that can do worse, they get on their knees. They become the dogs. Like,
I think the new generation of guys is weak.
No, I've met older guys. I've met older guys who are just like I just think there's certain energies that people carry. Mm-hmm. And certain people bow down to those energies. And if you learn how to control, you take the best traits about you and flash those to the world. And your worst traits, keep them to yourself. Once you learn how to do that, you're going to attract everyone. Especially when you're honest. Like when I used to lie and I'm like, oh, like I would never do that. I'm such a sweetheart. Everyone looked at me crazy. Now I'm gonna look at you. I'll tell you exactly what I'm gonna do. They're like, oh, okay. She's crazy. Like she's psychotic, but I like it.
You're so toxic.
I'm not.
At least you're honest about being toxic. I do appreciate that.
I don't think I'm toxic. I think I'm more. People don't like honesty. They get scared. Yeah, okay, people get scared. That's all it is. But if I was to get 50 women in one room and say you put a camera on their face, they are going to lie, right? They're going to lie. Turn the cameras off. Let it just be us girls. They're going to start speaking their truth. They're going to start saying everything that they would never say to the world. Now, say I fake recorded that and then I put it out there. Then what? Everyone knows who you are. They're going to respect you more. People don't like liars. They don't like liars. Like, I see celebrities all the time getting canceled by a bunch of 12-year-olds. Okay, it's never actual adults that cancel them. It's a 10-year-old with a fake page that's telling you need to apologize for something that they did 30 years ago. Okay, but real people don't care. Like, we just don't care. You said what you said. There's no taking it back. It is what it is. It's life. I feel like it's a certain maturity where you don't really care what a person presents themselves to be, because if it's not honest, why care? So I'm just gonna be honest from the jump. Like,
the crazy thing that I found is when I used to have my company in the modeling industry, I met all types of models: fashion models, commercial models, Instagram models, OnlyFans.
They're all escorts. They're all escorts. I've noticed that, and they lie. They lie.
And you know what's crazy is they will talk like the fashion model girls, right? Will talk down on the OnlyFans.
I would never do that. I would never do that.
And like 80% of them, sugar daddy.
Oh, I know.
And I'm like,
trust me, I know.
Yo, more power to you. Like, I have no like moral hangups against if a girl wants that type of relationship, but then don't talk shit about other girls who are kind of doing the exact same thing and act like you're like somehow above them.
No, I've noticed when a girl talks bad about something else a woman's doing, it's because she's doing the same thing in private. And I've noticed that. So when I meet a girl and she tells me, oh, I can't stand like strippers or I can't stand this, I know in the back of my mind she's doing that, but no one knows about it. Because I had a best friend once, for example. She used to tell me about the OnlyFans girls. I would never do OnlyFans. They're trashy. They're disgusting. Like, ew, talk the worst about them. Now, bitch got an OnlyFans. And there's videos of her on Twitter with a dildo going up her coochie. Like, you liar. You're a liar. You're a liar. And I called it from the jump. I said, you're talking that much shit because that's you. And any girl who I've met that talks, like, I've met models who will tell me, I don't like her. Like, it's her vibe. It's her energy. No, she knows some dirt about you. And you've met her in the past on some paid expense trip. You know what I mean? Like, you've met her before. And you're trying to act like you don't know her. The amount of times that I've met girls who I would say have a higher status and they talk down on women, and then they end up being the worst of the worst. Like, it's crazy, especially LA. This is the thing with LA. You're going to see all these girls, they're flexing being on a private jet, being on this, being on that. But you don't see behind the screen what rapper's in it, what old man, 90-year-old on his deathbed is in it. Like,
just on the yacht.
Like,
his scrotum is just in the water. Just
like, you don't see the people that are funding it. You don't see it. And then you ask the girl, okay, so what do you do? Like, how are you on this? This is the thing. Yeah, I have friends that invite me on stuff like that. And I'll say it. But these girls, instead of being like talking about their friends, they're just going to tell you they don't know. Someone random invited them. How you about to go on the ocean with someone you've never met before? You can drown. You can die. You're going to tell me you don't know who this person is. You don't care to know them. Please.
Yeah. I mean, there's a saying out there. It's like, if there's like a young girl who's attractive and she does modeling, right? And she lives in like a, 2-bedroom apartment in Beverly Hills. It's either dad's money or it's daddy's money. It's one of the two. Unless like the 1% of girls who are just like famous models or whatever, and they actually make like tons of money. Like, if it's just some girl like randomly and she's like, oh yeah, I just like have this, and for some like random reason, it's like, yeah, it's one of the two.
Yeah, but even a lot of models are usually in model apartments, and you can tell what's a model apartment, what's not. Like, there's a big like difference in them. Model apartment is not gonna have no real food. It's gonna have ingredients. Just ingredients, because the
fucking raisins and peanuts.
Yeah, like the agents are so strict on what you can eat that you can tell when it's a model apartment. Sometimes there's like 10 girls living in one apartment.
They got bunk beds on days. Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that about, if they live in like, Wyoming or something. They're just like, they don't understand this whole world exists. Because
they'll see on social media they're recording and they're doing like photo shoots and all that stuff. They're going to mansions, but they don't realize that's just where they shoot. It's not where they sleep. It's not where they live. And I can tell now the difference between women. Like, if you're a model, you're signed to an agency. Okay, what agency?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know. My agent, what agency? Don't
that's
lie.
The crazy thing to me is, even if you're signed with a big agency, like even if you're with like Wilhelmina, it's like, most of those girls aren't even getting paid.
Yeah, you're still not.
Like 90% of those, like unless you're like up there, you're really not getting paid.
It takes over a month to get paid from a modeling gig in the first place. Like it takes a long time.
Sometimes more than a month.
I know.
I feel like a month is pretty quick.
No, I know. There's been time where it took me 8 months to get paid from a shoot. Like it takes a long time.
Yeah.
And it's also, you're not getting paid that much. Like, if a shoot is $1,400, your agent's taking 30-40%. You're still not
30. I feel like most agents like 10 to 20.
No, so that's when I told you earlier about the agency that I was signed with. They were taking, it's a lot.
Well, what a lot of agencies do, the sketchy ones, is they say they only take, let's say, 10% or something, but then they're like, hey, we have this gig. It's for like $1,000. And in reality, the gig's like $2,000. So they do only take 10%, but then they keep the extra 1,000 and pocket it that you don't even know was part of the gig in the first place. That's a sketchy thing.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's like, you have so many models. It shouldn't be that serious. But no, one, it takes them a long time to get paid. And also, say you're getting signed to IMG. If you're not someone like Kendall Jenner or Bella Hadid, they don't care about you. Yeah. That's the reality. They don't care about you. You're barely going to even be able to audition for anything. Like, they don't care about you. You're just signed so they can say they have other models and not seem so like, I don't want to, like, you know how easy it is for companies and people now to get canceled. So they want more diversity, more people. They don't want to make it seem like they only are focused on the people who are already famous. So they're going to bring in little people just to say that they have them, but you're never actually going to get booked for anything. You're lucky to get booked once, twice a year. So I don't know how to explain it. It's just, if you're telling me you're signed to someone and I know the agency you're signed to and you're living in an apartment that costs $8,000 a month, you're driving an expensive car, you're living the way you're living, I know it's not your agency. I know damn well
it's a different kind of agency.
Yeah, I'm like, that. I know that's not. Kind of agency. Yeah,
it's interesting. So I've dated 2 girls who did OnlyFans. And the crazy part to me was like, because there's a lot of people who are judgy, but for one thing, I thought it would be more guys who were judgmental, but it was way more girls. And I thought girls would be more like uplifting, hey, we care about each other, blah, blah, blah. And it was always like the ugly girls who were the most judgmental. Like, it was like some girl who looks like a bowling ball stacked on top of an exercise ball with 2 shoes at the bottom. And she's like, oh, I would never do OnlyFans. I'm like, motherfucker, OnlyFans doesn't want you.
You can't even do it.
OnlyFans would kick you under no danger. Don't worry. You're going to be just fine.
No, I've met girls, like, there's this one girl I know. Love her. She's a sweetheart. I adore her. But this is my thing about her. She always talks down on girls who are, how do you pronounce it? Like, how do I explain it? Girls that sleep with men for money. Okay. I was like trying to find the right word for it, but there's not really a right word for it. But she always talks down about them. Prostitute, I think. Yeah.
That's the word you're looking for.
No, she literally talks down on them 24/7. To me and my other friends, she's like, I hate them. Like, they're disgusting. One of my guy friends, we're mutuals. We go to dinner one day. I'm like, by the way, how do you know her? Because this is so random. Like, how do you two know each other? He's like, oh, my best friend, that's one of his girls. I'm like, what do you mean one of his girls? He's like, he pays her $2,000. I'm like, oh, like, you're serious? I'm like, you're not lying. He's like, no, I just saw it a couple days ago. I walked in by accident. She was riding him. And I'm like, oh, okay, period. So I texted my other friend. I'm like, do you remember when she used to talk all this shit about girls who do that? And she would tell us how she would never be like that and how it's trashy. And she would talk about her best friend who does that.
Mm-hmm.
You're selling it for $2,000. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. She doesn't know I know either. That's the thing. I never told her to this day that I know she does that, because I like to keep my dirt on people private in case you ever do me dirty one day. Which I'm going to put it all on blast. Everything's coming on blast.
I think you do like revenge.
No, I find joy in it.
Yeah, that's what liking something is. Finding joy in it.
Like, I find joy in it. I'm like, oh my God, you're crying. That's so cute.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you seem to be you figured out the LA world pretty fast. When you first came here, were you kind of deer in headlights? Was it a shock for you? Was it a culture shock? Because you're from Indiana, yeah?
No, I'm not from fucking Indiana.
I thought you said you're from Indiana.
No.
Where are you from?
I'm from San Diego.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Why did I swear to God you said you were from Indiana?
No,
Why am I
I
tripping?
brought up Indiana earlier.
What did you say? Oh, something. I thought you said
I made a joke where I was like, if you say this in Indiana, then
oh,
look at
that
you
was
crazy.
it. I thought you were implying you were from Indiana.
No,
okay.
no,
okay.
ew.
So you grew up
San Diego.
in the sewers of California.
But this is the thing. I grew up like very different than everyone else.
Okay.
Because
explain.
I don't want to. How do I explain it? Like, I don't want to get into detail, but basically, my family and I did not get along, so I was never home. I was never home, and I ended up making friends in San Diego who are a lot older than me. Now that I think about it, why was I 15 hanging out with you people? Anyways, I would come to LA with them all the time, and we would go to like all these clubs and all these parties. Mind you, my mom's thinking I'm in bed. I would sneak out, go to the club when I'm like 16. I would sneak out, go to the club here in LA, and then come back home, pretend I was asleep the whole time, which is crazy that I got away with that. But no, so I ended up meeting like all these people when I was younger who were older than me and took me out, and then I started to learn people. I started really seeing it for what it is, because when you're really young and you're hanging out with like A-list people, you're seeing them for what they are, because it's not like we're just going to their party, we're going to their house, and I'm the little sis that would go with them, the one that they like would watch over, the one that they just bring with them because they think that, I don't know what they were thinking, to be honest. Now I think about it, I don't know what y'all was thinking, but so I started really learning people, and I started to view, like, I had an obsession since I was young about wanting to know why people are the way they are. So I would always get close to people that I wanted to figure out, because I want to know why they think the way they do, why they act the way they do. So I would find the most hated people, like the villains that people don't like, and I would be friends with them because I want to learn the way they are. And once you learn people like that, it's very easy to learn everyone else, because the most hated people are usually the ones that know the most. So I would go around them, figure them out. Then once I figured that person out, then I would go to like the loved by everyone, figure them out. I would go around different groups. I would have different personalities every other night, just because I wanted to fit in and figure out what really matters to these people, what doesn't matter. And so since probably 18 years old, I had figured it out by then.
Do you feel like it was, was it a tough childhood in the standpoint of, you didn't get along well with your family? Did you feel like you had to kind of grow up faster than most people?
Yeah, it was like even worse than not even getting along with my family, because my family, they're Muslim, they're very religious. Okay. And I don't even think I have to say too much, like in the sense of me, like you can just see me and figure like, oh, that's different. It was,
they didn't approve of the lifestyle that you wanted to live.
It wasn't necessarily approval. It was more when I was really young, there was a lot that happened behind closed doors, like things I had to do, things that I wasn't allowed to do. And I didn't have my own personality. Like I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what I hated, because I didn't have my own personality. So once I turned like 15, 16, I kind of went psychotic, like genuinely psychotic. And I just started doing things out of impulse to try and figure out who I was, because I didn't know who I was.
So it sounds like they were trying to mold you into a certain person. You feel like you didn't fit that mold, and you wanted to figure out who you really were. And because of that, you kind of almost like a slingshot effect of, you were so far trying to be crushed in this mold that you went the other direction and said, kind of like that.
Because I was in Jordan because I was born in Jordan.
Okay.
So I was there till I was 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then we came here to San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
So in Jordan, I already no one liked me in my schools. No one liked me there. Like, I was the smallest kid out of all of them. I was the one that got picked on.
So you kind of got bullied a little bit.
Yeah. And then I came here and I have a whole accent. I barely speak any English.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't fit in here either. And then on top of that, my family wants me to be a certain way. Like, put on the hijab, do this, do that. Like, don't
and that
cuss,
probably made it even harder to fit in.
Oh, yeah. It made it so much worse because I didn't have a personality. Like, I was mute for a while as a kid. Like, I did not say anything. And then once I finally got like the ability to kind of talk for myself, that's when I left and I just started doing what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And I found my personality years later.
You do seem like you have a very strong personality, because there are some people that you can kind of tell they kind of go through life saying what they think they're supposed to say instead of saying what they really think. And you seem to have a strong sense of yourself.
Because it's like after having to kind of put on a mask for a lot of people, mm-hmm. once you break it out of it, mm-hmm. you don't need it anymore. Mm-hmm. And now I'm at an age where even my mom tells me, she's like, I was just with her a couple days ago and she straight up told me, I'm honestly glad you turned out the way you did, because I treated you how I got treated when I was a kid, mm-hmm. and I'm now screwed forever. And she's like, but you broke it. Like, you broke the cycle. You found yourself. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like in a way I kind of had to go through that, mm-hmm. because now I can even talk for other people in the situation. Like, this is the thing with being Arab. There's such a like stigma around, you can't embarrass the family, you can't do this, mm-hmm. you can't do that. Mm-hmm. And the way I learned it, I want other Arab kids to also learn, like, it's okay to not be what your family wants you to be. Like, mm-hmm. you don't need to do what they told you. I mm-hmm. have seen on social media like these gay Arabs and these Arabs that want to leave their religion, they want to join another one, and it's so sad because I'll read the comments and mm-hmm. they're getting bashed by other Arabs. Mm-hmm. I'm like, mm-hmm. why? These people are human, okay? They're human. Let them be who they want. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't care if you identify as like aromatherapy. I don't care. Like, just be happy. Like, mm-hmm. I don't care. And I feel like that cycle needs to be broken. Mm-hmm. And not a lot of people talk about it, like, at all.
And it sounds like you figured out how to break it, but it sounds like it was also probably a very tough experience to go through to break it.
Yeah, but I also had to break it alone, and I feel like others shouldn't have to go through it alone. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like it should be a point where it's okay to break out of it. Like, no one should have to break out of it the way I did, because mm-hmm. that took a lot. Mm-hmm.
What would you tell your kind of like former self if you could go back in time and kind of like coach yourself through it? You know what I mean? Like, what were you feeling at the time versus like now that you have the experience of knowing what it's like to be on the other side?
I would tell her that it's okay to mm-hmm. relax and to slow down, because I thought time was moving so fast, but in reality, I was making it move that fast. It wasn't actually moving as fast as I thought it was. And I would tell her to slow down and take a deep breath and to relax, and that it's okay. And that there's no need to rush anything. Like, you're going to get to where you need to get to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would just tell her to slow down, because she was moving too fast. Mm-hmm. Moving way too fast. Mm-hmm. Especially at such a young age. Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, it sounds like going through that and not having kind of a mentor to kind of walk you through exactly what's happening sounds tough.
The thing is, it's not that I would say I didn't have a mentor. It's more that I had the wrong mentors. Mm. You know what I mean? Like, mm-hmm. I had the complete wrong influence I shouldn't have had around me. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I just think that certain people, especially when you're young, you just need to slow down. Like, mm-hmm. you don't need to move as fast as you think you do, because in the moment you're so panicked. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just like a panicked mindset. You don't need that. Like, just slow down. It's okay.
No, I very much understand where you're coming from. I almost feel like I lived a parallel, light version of kind of what you went through. In terms of, my parents were super Catholic, which is probably the strictest kind of Christian religion, which probably isn't as strict as strict Muslims, but it was, you go to church every Sunday, no sex before marriage, no partying, that kind of thing. Be home by 10 p.m. was like my latest curfew that I went out. And I do feel like, even though there are a lot of good parts to that it did stifle me in the beginning, especially socially, where like I remember I stopped getting invited to like sleepovers with my friends because it was literally like my mom would make me go to church on Sunday, and then my friend who never had to go to church, his mom would feel guilty because like, oh, well, Zach's family's going to church, we should go to church too. And then my friend would have to go to church. And then so he just stopped inviting me because he's like, I don't fucking want to go to church on Sunday. And it was just little things like that that made it difficult to navigate socially when I was that age.
Yeah, it's kind of, that's why I told myself one day when I like have kids, I'm going to take them to, this is going to sound crazy to some people. They're going to a mosque, they're going to a church, they're going to, I don't know what they call the Jewish temple.
Not the Torah, that's the book.
Yeah. But I'm going to take them there too. Like, I want to take them to literally every single religion and let them choose what they want to be.
Interesting.
Like, I am not going to tell my kid they have to be a certain way. They can do witchcraft for all I care, as long as they're happy. Like, literally, as long as my kid is happy, I don't care. And that's why, from a young age, I'm not going to do what I got taught. I'm going to just show them every religion there is. Because I don't want that experience, like, for someone else. It's screwed up, because you tell your family, like, okay, well, I don't agree with this. Like, there's things in the Bible I don't agree with.
Same.
Like, why is there like 50 different versions? If God wrote why is there so many?
And why is it like, here's the big thing for me. Okay, so there's the whole like no sex before marriage, but if you actually look in the Bible, there's one verse that says that, and it doesn't even say no sex before marriage. It says like, thou shalt not be unclean by thy wedding day, something like that. Meanwhile, there's an entire chapter on the proper way to treat your slaves.
Oh my God.
And all the Christian people are like, oh, well, that's just metaphor. The entire chapter that gives the rules. If your slave steals, chop off his hand. Oh, that's metaphor. But the one little thing, no, that one we're really going to follow. It just seems like so hypocritical.
I started to like this is the thing. Once I started really learning about how dark religion is, like all the Abrahamic religions, again, like when I have kids, they can choose. But in my opinion, which I'm probably never going to say this to them because I don't want to like embed that in their head. But I think that the Abrahamic religions have a lot of dark to them because, first of all three of you are almost the same. What are you beefing for? Like, what are you fighting for? You're all the same. Literally every single one of you guys. And how is it that the Bible and the Quran, their followers don't like each other, but they complete each other? The books complete each other. Where the Bible talks about certain not prophets, like, I don't want to say prophets. They talk about certain people in there, and then the Quran talks about prophets. And people tell me that in the Christian Bible, they learned about how many they had saints. Okay, we can use that. That sounds better. How many saints they had because of how many prophets were in the Quran. You two don't get along. What? Why do you two hate each other, but somehow you use each other's books to like learn, you know? Yeah. And I just think that I remember this one time I met this guy and he told me, he said, you know what? I don't like the books because he said, I saw a story once where this guy, he went on a boat, rescued a bunch of people from a flood. And he started saying he was like a saint. He was saying he was a prophet. He said he was a savior and that he spoke to God. Okay. He rescued everyone. Then after the rescue, he met a doctor and the doctor told him, you're on acid. And after that,
imagine Jesus was just some dude on drugs.
And that's like, I really think about it too. And like because even in the Torah, it talks about how you're allowed to make someone a slave as long as it's not your brother. And in the Bible, it talks about slavery. In the Quran, There's just so much going on in these religions, and I started learning how each god is realistically, they're all worshiping the same God. I don't care what anyone says. They are. I've read almost all of them. They're worshiping the same God. I think that the truth of the matter is that the God is very jealous, and that he made these books a certain way because he's very jealous. So what do you mean? You're going to tell me someone just went on a rampage and killed 1,000 people, but on his deathbed, he said, God forgive me. I repent. He's going to heaven?
He's going to heaven.
I don't want to go with him. Send me to hell if I'm away from him.
That's a cheat code. Like, that's a cheat code to get into heaven.
Send me to hell as long as I'm away from him. I don't care. I'm not about to go hang out with that person. What do you mean we're going to be drinking wine out of the same river? No, like I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And just the whole stories of like, once I got older, and again, being in LA, I learned a lot that other people don't really learn, like how certain people do certain things. Like why is it such a normal thing for pastors to get away with touching children the way that they do?
Crazy.
Why is it so normal?
Crazy.
And it's, oh my God, it literally, like, why is it so normal? I keep trying to figure out, and they don't care. They don't care. And Mormons, don't even get me started on Mormons, please. Don't even get me started on Mormons. They drive me crazy. There's
a couple things that religion, I'm just like, wait. If you actually think about it, like, here's one thing I never understood. So people are like, oh, like, we're all sinners, right? And I sin or blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, so you're telling me, and this is why I actually don't believe that anybody actually believes in like the biblical God, at least.
I think it's fear.
I don't think anybody even believes it. I think it's more of they've been told they should believe it, and if you tell people you believe it, you're a good person. So I'm gonna tell people I believe it, because it's like, imagine committing a crime, right? Like you're about to rob a place, and right behind you, there's a police officer staring at you. And then you still rob the place and just instantly get arrested. Like, you can't get away with it. Like, you'd be like, that's the dumbest criminal in the history of criminals. But then people like sin, and they're like, God is everywhere. And it's like, okay, so you're telling me when you sin, you know God is watching you, and you're going to risk going to hell for eternity and burning in flames for like what? Like some sin, like, oh, I like missed church because like the football game was on. That's why I just don't think anybody actually believes in the biblical God. I think it's people just want to say it because it sounds, they want to be perceived in a way of somebody that believes in God.
I knew religion was used as like, I knew people started using religion for the wrong things when I started seeing people that deserve to be in jail getting canceled for the worst things, like literally the worst human beings, come on the internet, say how they like either repented to like Christianity or Islam, and every one of the comments is praying for them. Mm-hmm. This person just told you that they hit someone with a car and they died while drunk driving, and you're telling me because they converted they're fine now? Mm-hmm. Please I don't.
Or like, yeah here's the other thing I always see, like it'd be like a hurricane and everybody's like, I'm praying for you. And it's like, bitch, what send some money. Like put your money where your mouth is. You're praying. I don't want your prayers. I want your money.
Did you see where the LA fires were happening and all the edits of people saying, this is God. Like, God is burning Hollywood. Yeah. First of all, I did my research on this, okay? And I have it on my phone so I can show anyone that wants to argue with me. There is less than 1% of celebrities in LA, okay? Mm-hmm. There's less than 1% of wealthy people and celebrities in LA. Mm-hmm. So, wait, actually I have that wrong. There's less than 1% of celebrities, but there's less than 10% or 5% of wealthy people. The rest are regular people working 9 to 5s, or they're homeless or in poverty. And there's actually more homeless people in the city of Los Angeles than there are celebrities and wealthy people combined.
Crazy.
So I'm seeing, because I went to ChatGPT and I asked him each question individually, because I'm responding to all these hate comments on people's posts, and I'm like, yo, like,
you're one of the people that responds to comments.
Yes, because they're commenting.
You're in the comments like, and it's like some dude with no profile picture.
It's irritating me because they're literally saying like, this is Jesus being resurrected. Oh, you're about to piss me off. This person just posted how they lost their entire home. They're homeless now. They have no money. They have nothing. And Jesus is returning. Tell him to come get you. People keep on talking about Jesus. Tell him to come get you. I'm tired of this. But anyways.
I always wondered, who are the people in the comments that are really arguing with? I'm like, who are these people that really, like, I read them, I think they're funny. I'm like, now I met somebody. I finally met someone in real life.
No, and so I remember doing all this research, and I tell people, I'm like, okay, less than 1% of Los Angeles is celebrities. Less than 5 to 10% is wealthy people. Mm-hmm. And the rest of the people are homeless people, which a majority of them is more than celebrities and more than wealthy people. And the rest are regular people who are either immigrants or they're working 9 to 5s. But regardless, they definitely don't have money. Okay, that's about 90% of the city. Mm-hmm. So you're telling me that your God that you love so much decided it was a good idea to put millions of people out, thousands of people out, whatever you want to call it, to get one person? I don't want to hear that. Like, that's not someone I want to worship. That sounds evil to me. If that's your mindset, that sounds evil to me.
That's not all. He also made a flood that drowned all of humanity except for like 10 people and the animals. Like what? It's like, wait, what? Oh, God loves all of us. Are you sure about that? Like, might want to double check some of those Bible passages.
I think that the truth is that he does exist. I think that this is going to sound really weird because a lot of people don't understand what I mean when I say this. I think every religion is true. I think that humans as a whole, when you get more people, because each one of us, we're energy. We're a different type of being. We're all different energies. We're all different entities, whatever you want to call it. And if you get 100 people and you make them believe in the same thing, we're all going to actually bring it to life. Like, if you want to create a new God and you bring 100 people, I feel like they can actually do that. They can resurrect a new spirit because of their energy going into it. Mm-hmm. And so I think that the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, all these religions are real. Hinduism, all of it, I think it's all real. Mm-hmm. But I think that certain gods from certain religions are actually not necessarily good. Like, I think that they somehow resurrected a spirit that is not what you think it is. Like, how do you pronounce Yeshua? Is that how you pronounce his name?
No idea. Yahweh?
Yeah, Yahweh or Yeshua.
Yahweh.
It's the same thing. I think it's the same thing.
Maybe.
Yeah. But anyways, he's very jealous. I've noticed it when reading the books. Very jealous. Just like wants. This is going to sound bad. I feel like he just wants to be worshipped. Like, he doesn't care what the extent is. Doesn't care who you are. He just wants to be worshipped. And I was watching some videos about people talking about how it's actually a fallen angel, how he is really a fallen angel, but made it seem like he is not. And I feel like that's true. Mm-hmm. I feel like people are worshiping a fallen angel, and they're worshiping someone that they think is all love and light when in reality he's not. Like, what was it that... I think it was the Babylonians. They used to worship all the gods and all the spirits that they worshipped. And when they needed protection, they would go to...
Jericho?
No, they would go to Pazuzu.
Okay.
And he is the demon of all demons, right? He's the one that protects you from all demons. They're going to him for protection, but he's the scariest demon of them all. So who are you going to go to after him? You get what I'm saying? And so I feel like it's the same thing with Christianity in the sense of, like, they go to him for protection. But it's like, okay, what about when he turns on you? What about when you forget to go to church and he decides to destroy you, to start teaching you lessons, helping you mature, as you want to call it, helping you find your path? What are you going to do then? Like, you're fucked. You're literally fucked. There's nothing you can do about it.
Even, like, what was that story where it was like there's a dude and he had, like, his son, and then God was like, to prove that you love me, you have to kill your son.
Yeah.
Like, imagine he's like, you're about to kill your son, and God's like, just kidding.
I think that was
you, dude.
No, I think that was Abraham. Yeah, I think that was Abraham.
I think so too. Yeah.
But this is the thing. You're telling me that it's okay to be in one with him. Mm-hmm. But if I was walking down the street and I see a man doing it to his son, I'm gonna call the cops on them because obviously he's trying to murder his son. Yeah. And you're gonna call him schizophrenic and say he needs to be in jail. But somehow another man gets away with it.
Yeah, that's some crazy
shit. Just doesn't make any sense to me. And people don't ask themselves these questions. And I see people hating on spirituality and, like, all these different... When I see Christians or Muslims saying... I don't know how to explain it. But they talk about you can't worship Greek gods. You can't worship any ancient spirits. You can't work with any deities because it's evil. It's ungodly. but these spirits came long before your God.
Mm-hmm.
Your book is only like 1,400 years old.
Mm-hmm.
These spirits are a lot older than that. They've existed from the beginning of time. So you're telling me that your God that was just born a couple thousand years ago
Mm-hmm.
is stronger than these deities that have been here since time's been created, since any human has been brought to earth. I just don't buy it. And also, I think that Adam lied about Eve because men are liars. And I think that he lied and blamed her. Truly, I do.
Interesting.
Men are liars. I think he ate the apple and then he looked at God and said it was her. It was her. She did
but
it.
God knows. He can see everything, right?
Of course, but he's
Or you
also...
think God was like on his side? He's like, bro, I got you.
Literally. I think
it was the women. It was the women's fault.
Like, she did it. You're right. I got you. She did do it. And what do you tell me? You created a woman just
God
for
was like
him.
the ultimate wingman. He was like, bro, I got you.
Because it just doesn't make any sense to me how in every single book they all have one thing in common: men.
Yeah,
where's
the
the
best,
women?
you know?
Where's the women? Like, why is God a man? Why couldn't he be like gender fluid? Why couldn't he make a gender fluid God? Like, why does it have to be a man? Why is everything men? Why does the priest have to be a man? Why? Like, you get what I'm saying? Why is everything man? Why couldn't we be equal? We want to talk about equal rights in the books.
Oh, no. Bible's very against equal rights. Bible, it says women should be seen and not heard. That's really in the Bible. That's like a literal passage. I swear to God. And it says something about like if you're on your period and you like sit on a bench, like that bench is like haunted by demons or something. Like it's like some crazy shit. It's pretty funny, actually, if you actually like, read it word for word. It's pretty funny.
I think someone should make a movie exactly how the Bible went, how the Quran went, how the Torah went. I think that like someone should make a full movie exactly what. Don't change anything and let people watch the movie. They're gonna call the person who the director schizophrenic. They're gonna start calling you all types of things. Just I want people to really see it. And I'm not trusting any religion till someone lets me in the Vatican.
Ooh, yeah. Let's see
like,
let's see what goes on behind those doors.
There. I want to be there more than anything. I've always wanted to go there. And I was just in Italy and I was so sad because I'm like, can I just walk in here and tell them to let me underground? Like, I just want to see what y'all got going on. And they don't let you, unfortunately.
What they got to hide? That's the question.
I don't even care what you have to hide. I'll keep the secret. I just want to see. I like wisdom. I like knowledge. Like, I want to know what's down there. And I don't believe in the books the way people make them out to be. I think prayer is real, but prayer is like manifestation. Once you learn how to use something, you can bring it to life. And all these people that are very protected by their religion, you need to just start doing research about what you're doing, right? You're praying, that you're manifesting, you're doing things that have different names to it, but you've learned it through the Bible, but you can still do it without the Bible. You can still do it without, and this is something I told someone the other day. Like, okay, so there was the war between Archangel Michael and Lucifer, but they're twins. They're twins. How do you know? Lucifer didn't kick Archangel Michael's ass and pretend to be him. How do you know that Saint Michael's not on earth right now and Lucifer's up in the sky? How do you know that? They're twins. If they weren't twins, I wouldn't be questioning it. But you're telling me two twins got into it.
But even with that, like take even like the story of the guy who's about to kill his kid. Like, okay, so you're like, oh, but God told me to do this. But like, how do you know that was God and not the devil pretending to be God and tempting you? Like, how would you know? There's no way to know.
Once you ask, they start saying that you're trying to lead their head the wrong place and that you're like fed by the devil. Like, no, in reality, it's just I'm questioning things. And it's okay to question things. I'm not sitting here telling you to leave your religion. I'm just simply, I want answers because I want to know what goes on in your head.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm just like, let me know.
Like, how do you believe this? I'm confused. Because maybe there is an explanation. I don't know it. That's why I'm asking. But then once they get mad, they're like, oh, you can't be asking stuff like that. Why? Yeah. Why can't I know? What's the problem?
Yeah. All right, Rahaf. Well, we are about out of time. We got one last question. We've been taking a poll. If you meet a guy, he texts you, the bubble's green. Is that a red flag?
Depends. There's two ways to interpret that. One, it's Android. That is a red flag to me.
Yes.
Or two, it could be he's using text now because he has a wife.
Ooh, yeah, interesting. So
both
are red flags, really.
it's easy to figure out which one's which, though. You just have to really call the number. And if you call it, if it's text now, you'll be able to tell. If it's an Android, you'll be able to tell whichever one's which. If you're able to FaceTime that number that's green, it's text now. If you're able, there's certain things that you can do where you know which one's which. And if it's text now, you're blocked. If it's an Android, I'm not going to say I'm not going to talk to you anymore, but I'm definitely going to ask you why.
Yeah.
Like.
What if they're like, the specs are better?
Then you know what? I'm just, because when they go green, they don't know who blocks them. So I'm just not going to respond. Ever.
Whenever I see the Android, like it's like, so my co-host Mo, he's out of town right now, but he has an Android and he always talks about how they're so much better than iPhones. And then every time he sends me a video, I'm like, is this a party or is this World War II footage? Like I can't tell. It looks the same.
No, they always take pictures of the same thing. They'll all take pictures of the moon and tell you how it's so much better, so much better quality. No, that's grain. I can do the same thing with my phone. I can take a picture of the moon, put grain all the way on.
No, the moon, they got caught. You didn't see that TikTok where. So what the Androids do is if you zoom in on a white circle, it AI generates like craters on it to make it look really realistic. Like, look how good the camera is. Some dude took a piece of paper and taped it to his wall and it was white and he zoomed in on it and the Android phone made it look like the moon. It's all fake. It's all crazy. Fraud. Yeah.
Especially you're paying the same price. I don't want to hear nothing about money problems. It's the same price. iPhones and Androids are the same price.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're saving $5. Please, get you an iPhone.
All right, well, this has been fun. We'll have to do round 2 sometime.
I'm down.
Thanks for listening.